Aloha. So, a couple of things. Much better week this week. I am stronger and ready to take it on, and so I wanted to come to my happy place and make some joy happen in the kitchen in the form of bread. Yeah, bread. But before I go there, I have to say, so I saw Oprah's favorite things list for 2021 this morning, and I swear I wanted to order like everything on there. But one of the things she mentioned was an apron. It was interesting, and I thought, geez, I got a whole lot of aprons. I really got to start wearing them. So I decided that's going to become one of my trademarks. I'm going to wear an apron every time I do one, and if I don't, bust me, because I want that to be a thing for me. That not just show up here with Ufawanga hair, but hey, what kind of apron is she wearing today? So this one is a denim overall look apron that I got John to wear for our Green Acres Christmas cabaret song that we did. Basically, my family does a Christmas cabaret where everybody performs something, whatever they feel in for the family. And John and I decided to take Green Acres and make it Kilipohe Acres. And so I got him this to wear, and then I got a frilly little apron, and we did our Green Acres song. So I'm sporting my little Green Acres apron, and we're making fast no-knead bread today to go with some pasta. This is the very same loaf. This is an empty bowl, but this is the very same loaf I made for Lasagna Love last week. And I tell you, it was a hard week, but it was so rewarding to make that lasagna and hand it to that family. It was amazing. And it was great to talk to my friends afterwards and hear what they're doing in their communities and through their churches. And I feel so behind the times that I didn't even think about those kinds of simple traditions that are already in place. But I fell in love with Lasagna Love because I love lasagna. And it was such a great opportunity to share my love with another family. So we're making bread, and I've already got everything portioned, and let me just get the heat on my water. Perfect. So I've got 3 cups, quote unquote, of bread flour. And I say quote unquote because I measured it. I did not I weighed it. I didn't measure it. So it's actually about 375 grams of flour. I aerated it first and then scooped it in. So between 360, it's about 120 grams of flour per cup. So I did that, aerated it, and I went to 375 because the last time I made it at 360 exactly, and it felt like it needed a little more flour. So 3 cups of flour, or as necessary, your preferred measurement, weight, a teaspoon of salt. Yes, I'm going with salt. It's a no-knead bread, so I'm just gonna go do it. You know what? It's been that kind of month. Actually, it's only November 2nd. Happy November. And 2 teaspoons of yeast, instant yeast. That's it. 3 cups of flour, or by weight, 375 of flour, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. And that is what will make this a fast bread. Then I have some hot water, and it's right, the last time I measured it, I'm gonna go ahead and check it again. It's 112, but you can get up to 130. I think 120 something last week, and I didn't really like it. So I'm bringing it, this is 112, which I feel like is a good temperature to have for making bread. Then I'm just gonna bring it all together. Yep, I just dipped my hand in there and mixed it all together. Basically, you're just gonna get all of that flour incorporated so it's one dough. Then you're going to cover it and let it sit in this very same bowl for an hour, and it'll rise for that hour. And that yeast is the secret to making it a fast rise, because most times you'll see breads will be like, oh, and then set it aside for 2 hours and punch it down and set it aside for another 2 hours. Like, dude, I ain't got that time. We want to eat tonight. So here it is. I incorporated it all together, and I have all the flour mixed in, and I'm just going to set it and forget it. Basically, I'm gonna put a little dish towel over it, and I'm gonna put it in my oven with the light on and nobody home, and just let it do its thing for an hour. And then after that hour, I'm going to knead it for a little bit. I know it's a no-knead dough, while my oven preheats to the appropriate temperature with my Dutch oven. Yes, that's the key, that having that Dutch oven heat up with the oven allows it to create that steam effect that makes your dough blossom and create that hard crust. So I'm gonna cover this, put it in the oven with the light on, and let it proof for an hour, and then we'll come back. So see you in a bit. Hey, welcome back. First, before we do anything, I apologize, I didn't tell you the measurement of water. So it was 3 measured cups. So I had about 375 grams of bread flour, 2 teaspoons of active yeast, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 cups of water, heated up to 130 is what they say, 130. I had mine's about 115. When I got it out of the microwave, it was about 120. So I knew by the time I mix it would come down some. I'm just flouring my board. I'm gonna also flour my hands. And this is my dough after an hour of sitting. It is really soft. So if you want to, well, the next step, not if, the next step is to knead it, fold it rather. It's not kneading, it's folding. Fold it 10 to a dozen times. Meanwhile, I've got the oven preheating to 450, and in the oven is my Dutch oven. So it's heating at the same time as the oven, which is gonna allow it to quick steam and help to blossom the dough. So there's the dough. And really the idea, and ask John, anytime we do anything, I gotta get my hands in it. I think that's why I love cooking, because it's all about getting it on your hands. But the idea with this is to fold it 10 times, 10 to a dozen times. And for me, I really can't do it with the scraper. I'm going in. So I'm gonna dust my hands and get in there. Because that's how I can tell the texture, you know, if it's too shaggy, if it's too soft, if I need a little bit more flour, if I've got too much flour, should I add a little bit more water? This feels lovely, actually. So on the side, I've got another bowl ready, and it's lined with parchment paper. And the only function of that bowl rather, is to hold the dough when I'm done until the oven is done preheating. So here's the bowl with the parchment paper. When I'm done rolling this, folding it a dozen times, I'm just gonna pick up the ball that's gonna result in from this and put it in that bowl until it's ready to go in the oven. So let me recap. I made my dough. It was a really quick dough. I just stirred it up, right? 3 cups of weighed, I keep saying measure, 3 cups of weighed bread flour, a teaspoon of salt, and 2 teaspoons of, I'm going in, of yeast, and 1.5 cups of warm to hot water. I'm just gonna add a little bit more. I'm afraid I might just dry it out, but I can feel there's a lot of water in there. And then I mixed it up until it was incorporated, all the flour is incorporated, put it in the bowl, put it aside so it could proof for an hour, and it rose, it did, and this is what we got. All I did was put it out, folded it up, rolled it up in a dough, ball rather. Now I'm gonna put it in my parchment paper so it can sit until my oven is preheated. Now the oven is preheating to 450 with my Dutch oven in the oven so that it heats up. So when that goes off, what I'm gonna do is quickly open the oven door, grab the Dutch oven with mitts, take off the lid, drop the parchment paper filled ball into it, close it up, pop it back in. And that quick heat will sear it, give it a nice blossomed crust, and then it'll start to cook while it's in there for 25 minutes. That's the plan anyway. So here's my ball. I'm gonna put it in the bowl with the parchment paper. Oh, it is lovely. It's so luscious, nice and soft. So there we go. It's just gonna sit in here until my oven is ready. Then I'm gonna pop it in a Dutch oven and show you the results. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a long time. And I feel like I'm strong enough to be back in the kitchen with my apron. So thanks for joining me today. I'm enjoying this. And to go with this, I'm making some sweet potato chicken apple sausage pasta with asparagus. And the sauce is gonna be a white wine Parmesan cream sauce. It calls for heavy cream, which I don't have. So I'm gonna see what I can do about using what I got. You know what I always say, you do you. I'm not judging. Look at this hair. Who am I to judge? I love you. See you guys back in a bit. I thought I'd start with the dinner. So here's our dinner tonight. It's a chicken apple sausage with sweet potatoes that were browned in a goat cheese white wine cream sauce with some cavatelli, and I just sprinkled on some Parmesan on top, so that's ready to go. I also roasted some asparagus. I'm going to top some apples on top of that just for some crunch. I wanted to do pine nuts, but I ran out of pine nuts. And here's the star of the show. So it sat enclosed in this Dutch oven in the oven for a half an hour at 450. After that half an hour, I took off the lid and let it crisp up, probably for another 10 minutes. There it is. I'm gonna let it cool for another 10 or so before we eat. It'll be nice and crusty and dippable in that goat cheese white wine cream sauce. Bon appetit!